Okay. Okay, we're recording. All right, so the question is, how do you find your vanishing point? And vanishing points change. So, if we were just creating our own make-believe room that has floating shapes, we can just make our vanishing point on that line that we drew together last week. I did another one the other day. Flip it. Okay, so when we did the floating, you can pass that back to Beth. When we did the floating boxes, and I had a vanishing point here and here, and anything on the vanishing point, on the horizon line, you only saw the sides. If it was above the horizon line, you saw the sides and the bottom. If it was below the horizon line, you could see into it, and you could choose whether to open it up or not. Turn it over, it still works because it's all related to this line.
And the vanishing points are on the horizon.
The vanishing points are on the horizon line. Okay, but we chose that. Now, if I'm looking at, if I want to draw this, I'm in San Antonio at the Alamo, and I go, oh, that's so cool, I want to draw that. Well, how do I do it? How do I find where those guidelines go? Oops. Sorry about that. You look visually. Now, as an artist, you might have your pencil and you look at the fence, that wooden fence, and you hold your pencil up to it and see what angle it's at. And then you can then, in turn, draw that angle on your paper. You might not, like here's that angle, bring it down to your paper. It's approximately like that. Okay, then you go, okay, if it's like that, if I'm looking here and then I want to look and see approximately the bottom of that fence behind all the shrubbery, be about like yay. So it should be, it's getting really big because, oh sorry, it's getting really big down at the closer to you because you're closer to it. But this gives you an option to begin drawing. That would be your tree here. You would have your shrubbery in through here. Oops, sorry, I left the T on. You have an archway here, and then it gets skinnier and skinnier, and the tops of the archway would be your vanishing point for this fence would be like right here. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so thank you. All of the arches here, as they get further away, they're going to stay within this height, but they're going to get skinnier. Just like when we did the fence posts, where's the middle? Now, I don't know if this will work because I'm not sure if they're totally evenly spaced. This might be wider than that. If they're evenly spaced, the top of this line will go through the center of this one and go to the bottom of this one. So if that's the case, then the next one, the bottom would have been here. Then this one, so it might be similar. So
maybe the bottom. I don't know, Carrie, because I think that line that you have there is the bottom line really the bottom of that fence?
Oh, it's probably not because the foliage comes out. Yeah, so you're right. So it would have been sharper. But this gives you
right where to find
a guide, and then your arches, you're going to only see this side of it, and then the fence. But that just knowing to look, just so if you have the top of a building, now this is totally different. I don't even see the bottom of this building. But if I wanted to draw something like this, you lay it down and you look and see where all the lines line up to a vanishing point beyond itself. And then you'll rotate around. Once you figure out where that is, then you'll be able to aim and get bigger where you need to. And it's going to be skewed when you're so close. Does that make sense? Okay. This one, oh, it's really tiny. I can't enlarge it on a. This is in Macon, looking out from the top of the hay house, the cupola, whatever, the gazebo thingy up at the top. But it's the same kind of thing. I'm above this building, so I can, well, you can't even see it. I'm above this building, so I can see the top of it. I'm pretty close to eye level here because that's almost straight. And way back here, somewhere in here, is my vanishing point for the buildings going off this direction. And the vanishing point on this one would be way further over here because these are almost level. You're not going to see it very well from there. See how straight that is.
What's your horizon line?
The horizon line on this, eye level is probably somewhere in here.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, gotcha.
Think of your horizon line. It is, if I look straight out, what am I seeing?
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not get to watch all the videos, so forgive my question.
No, you're fine.
This is related on something that I tried
Okay.
based on the last.
But that what I threw at y'all last week was a lot, and until you do it on your own and you try a few things, you go, okay, I'm getting this. And then when I saw the video of the 3D stuff, and I thought, oh, so much of that relates to what we're doing. So since I'm already videoing this, I'm going to show you a couple of things like that before we go into our grid lesson for the day. The first one that was done was this one, and it's.
Can I get the? Do you have the?
Oh, I need to get I need to get you a nice compass. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
You were the only one that wasn't here.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you watch the video, he starts with a perfect circle here, and he uses a compass to draw the concentric circles. Now, when you look at his work, it doesn't look like a circle because the camera took a picture of it at an angle. So when I tilt the board, oops, hello, let's hold on to it, that would be helpful. Called gravity. Okay, so if I tilt the board, the angle of the camera, do you see how the angle of the camera creates the illusion? And it changes it from circles to ellipses. So to get the total illusion, you have to take a picture of it. But what I want y'all to see is, as artists, we want to sometimes draw it to look that way without having the tilt of the camera and the special effects. And in order to do that, you have to create those ellipses rather than circles. So to draw the optical illusion, it's actually easier to draw the optical illusion, use the camera to create the visual illusion, than it is to draw this to make it look like it's three-dimensional.
Well, even down it looks three-dimensional, but those circles aren't quite circles.
Right.
I mean, they are, but even when
But
it's
they're
flattered,
flattened a
they're
little bit.
still doing a little bit of an ellipse.
Right.
So-
But it depends on the angle of the camera. See, look, if I tilt it this way, that's really coming up at you. And it all, I just think it's fun to just see, wow, I can just move it around and look what happens. But in order to get that real contrast, I pulled out some black paper to put behind it because the brown does okay, but to me it has a slight glare on it. So that's why I got the black paper out. Okay, and then the next one I did was the W. Well, he had a K. I said, well, I got to do my last name. So I did the W. And I love the way he started it because I know how to draw block letters, but he just did it with a marker and then outlined it. And so that's just really an easy way to get a block letter. And then if you watched what he did, he or she, I really don't know if it's, I'm assuming it's a he. But did you notice that he was drawing longer lines to start off with? So they had a vanishing point down here that caught every angle of the points. And that's just what we did in those single flying shapes. See how one thing goes into the next? And then over here, how we aimed this corner to the vanishing point as well, but we stopped when we hit something. Same things we've been doing. And then his shadow was a K, so it was solid across. And I first did mine solid across and went, oops, that won't be right. So the shadow should fall in line with one of the corners, wherever you want the light to come from. And then I just kind of zigzag the shadow after I realized, it doesn't need to be solid. And then what was fun with that is, when you tilt it and then you get some little critter, to sit on it and then take a picture, then it really looks cool. So I went around the house looking for little bitty things that I could put on that. I mean, even though it's flat, even there, yeah, it's okay. But see, if I had this here, you'd have the illusion of it here. But what would need to happen is I would need to adjust my shadow because he would change the cast shadow. Does that make sense? Isn't that fun? Yeah. Okay, the last one, well, not the last one, but this is the one I had the most fun with. And that's why I pulled out the black paper, especially because I wanted the black paper, this to look like black paper. But he took a card that he had cut. I took a Post-it note, laid it down, traced around the Post-it note, traced around the Post-it note. And the first time I did the lines of the shadows, I got them wrong. And I had the angle this way. It was and this way, and I don't know. No, I had them straight down. I had them straight down as though they were coming right at me. But when I took the picture, it's like, ooh, something's not right. So I had to come back and find a vanishing point somewhere along here that I could tilt, and these vertical lines would be aiming at the same vanishing point. Because the original, I don't know if you can see it, the original shadow I had for this one was deeper and fatter. And I had to erase that because it looked really weird. And then it's really fun when you put a little critter on it. It looks like, oh, it's far down there. Help! But it's cool because you can pick it up and you can even turn this one a little bit. Whoop, there he goes. But you know what I mean. But it's so cool. I mean, I've just had fun playing. But when you take the photos is when you really see and this little guy. I got him at the beach somewhere.
And the cutout, isn't it the cutout?
This isn't cut out. This is marker.
No, but I mean where you would cutting around
yes.
the shape is what
If you don't cut this out, you won't get the same effect because you have to have that high contrast for it to just pop off the page. You want it to pop, but that's kind of what makes it fun. But this is very similar to what we're doing now. What I did here with the squares, I just made sure that was a square. I got my 2 by 2 inches. This was a square. I just made sure that was a smaller square. And also because it was a shadow, I blurred I don't have a hard outline. You don't want a hard outline for a shadow because you don't see outlines on shadows. They're solid, different value, but no outline. So that was fun. And then the last one I did all these yesterday, so I've got to play with it. The last one I did was this one. And I had a scrap sheet of paper that I just drew this on and cut it out. And like he showed, it was a pattern that he just moved and retraced. But what I did is I marked how wide I want that, because just like the rings of the concentric circles, they weren't skewed. It's the tilt that skews it. So, when you look at this, if I tilt it, it's going to make those lines in the distance look a little closer than the lines in the front. But you don't have to draw them that way. Does that make sense? So it was fun. I mean, and now in the video they rolled. I can't roll this pencil; it's got an edge on it.
That was cool.
But yeah, it's like we'll roll, Mister. Woo! It's like woo, woo. Anyway, but that's just fun to play with. So to me, like who was it? Gail? Somebody's gonna do it for their grandkids. Somebody, I can't remember who I was talking about. Yeah, to show them how to draw it, and then get your camera out and take a picture of it. Let's see, my camera will come up, because it really does. I'm going to put him here. It almost looks like he's
Leaning over the edge.
all right. Now I'll show you my picture. Picture should show it a little better. You see how? Whoops, went away. But you saw, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you try that. It's fun. And also when you do your shadows, whenever you're casting a shadow of something, the cast shadow follows the shape of what it's falling on. So if this is a curve here, then it needs to be curved down. So think about that when you do your shadow. Okay? All right. Any other questions, concerns, homework, issues? I'm lost.
I had too many laces. I had to create another lace on my shoe.
Hey, that's creative license.
I
Your
heard-
artistic
I know, I
license.
kept hearing
Yeah.
your voice up in my head, but I really wanted it to be like it was supposed to be.
And I'm sorry that copy's so dark. I think all these photos are on my website under the drawing. Sometimes it doesn't come up on. I'll just show you how to get there. Google CarrieWaltz.com. I used to have to put www in front of it. CarrieWaltz. Would help if I spell my name right. I hit the X instead of Z.com. That's my website, Art by Carrie homepage. And when you go there, that's where I have general class information. Obviously, I don't have a class open right now, so there's not a whole lot. But up here, those 3 dots are your menu. And go down to where it's drawing and art inspiration. And the pictures don't come up on my phone. I don't know what's wrong with my phone. Well, some of them do. But there should be pictures for each of these sections. And then there was one beginning drawing lesson that I put on there, but it just wasn't feeding right. But those other references that you have copies for, a lot of them are there. So if you want to look at them and they're not They're a little more light, a little more well lit.
That gave me license to not have to do it like a real crisp picture.
Oh, well, that's true. That's true. That's true. But, and again, when you're drawing things, if you're looking from life and you're having trouble transferring like that orange into black and white, then, take your picture in black and white. Or change it, like this particular camera. It doesn't necessarily let me turn it that way until afterward. So I go here, I edit, however your phone works. And I want to take out the color. So when I take out the color, then it's in black and white, and I already know my values of my lights and darks, and that can help me better. So, when I first started drawing, 7th grade art teacher, Ms. Wiggins, I can still remember her. She would have objects, and we would draw the front, the top, the back, the side, the front, and the bottom. 5 different views of everything. Like I would do the top of him looking straight down. I'd do the side of him. I'd do the bottom of him, the back of him. And that's what I did with tennis shoes and anything. And you just learn to draw what you see. So anyway.
I have a question.
Sure.
I did 2 that I got. I got perspective. I got that. Okay.
Let me show that.
But
That's
the next
awesome.
one, then show the next one where I mess up. because that-
Look at that. Oh my gosh.
I just look for a fence picture online, and
That's fantastic.
now I wanted to do a dock. So turn the next
Okay.
page. So that's not so good. So it's look like the dock was like where your hand is was like looking out, Like,
Okay, so
turn it toward, that
like
way.
this.
Yeah. So sure, the boards are no, nothing's right about it.
Okay.
I had the vanishing point like
Way out
way
here.
out there. Yeah.
Okay, the thing is you're drawing what you know
Oh, I do that a lot.
and not
Yeah.
what you see. Because, let me just do a really quick demo.
Because nothing was making the poles look right.
Well, because you had them going out and they're straight up and down.
They kind of look straight up and down in the picture. See, that's the problem. I drew what I thought I saw.
Yeah. Because when you're there and you're looking, you'll see them.
Right.
But it'd be like, okay, this might be a little skewed, but I'll do a small one. So say here's the end of a dock. And, well, it'll actually it might get much bigger because, if I'm standing on a dock, the end of, and it's long,
Right.
it's going to get a lot skinnier at the end.
Right.
Okay, so what you would do here is you go, okay, well, how tall are the posts there? Well, the tallest post there might be the tallest post I'm talking about from the
Right.
distance from here to
Sure.
here. Okay, so then when you line up the tallest post, now let's see. See if I get that right. Well, I didn't draw that line right. See, I don't see that line's off. Huh. Hello. Let me redraw. Oh yeah, because I moved it because it was
Right. Too skinny.
too skinny. Let me redo my vanishing point. See where. Let's see, I screwed that up. Okay. All right. So we have a much closer vanishing point, but then your posts
You
have
started
to
at the far
fall.
one.
You start at the one you can see.
Okay.
However
actually-
tall
I
it
could
is.
see all of them, but the ones close were really high. Obviously, they seemed higher, which they will when you get to me. Because like the bottom of the dock is the wide part. I mean,
it
the
might-
ground is.
It might be where you see the tops, but you don't see space between them.
Okay.
It might be like this, where you can't I don't know. I
Right,
need to see the
okay.
picture.
All right, I can find it again,
But-
but still, that's the issue. I didn't get the line right.
Okay, but this would be like your planks.
Uh-huh. But you have to draw them to the vanishing point.
Draw them to the vanishing point. That'd be like our room and space. Flying. Man, I keep losing my vanishing point. See
Right.
how it gets slightly bigger?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I
That
see
help?
it. Yeah, I just forgot. I was like, okay, this isn't making sense now. It made sense drawing the fence. It didn't make sense drawing the dock.
Well, yeah, just,
Right.
yeah, try
And then
again.
Flip one more. So going down I-16 is the most boring rule. And we had the pleasure of driving to Savannah and back yesterday. So the ubiquitous orange and white
Yeah.
barrels.
Right.
So I took a picture of them and drew those. And they
That's
do vanish
great.
to the point where you almost don't see a barrel.
Right.
You see a little bit of white and orange
Uh-huh.
kind of thing. But I noticed another thing. See the cross bridge sort of?
Uh-huh.
Well, I had all the trees and everything above it because I just assumed I'd see trees above it. And then I looked back at it and I'm like, they're all below it. Because my horizon line was really below that bridge, not above that bridge.
Right.
And again, I'm drawing what I think
What-
I see. And that's my biggest problem.
Yeah.
I draw what I think I see and then I look back and go, that's not right. You have to put it
But,
all
I
on
mean,
the
if
bridge.
you want accuracy, true, but if you're just creating a scene, that still
Right.
might work.
It might.
But to me, so much of drawing is observation. And that's why even those crazy blind contour where you're looking at the object and trying to feel it without looking at your drawing, and then you draw it when you're looking. To me, that helps you be more observant. But anyway, any other questions? We good? I'm going to stop this one right there and